Welcome to another installment of Sean's Vlogs right here on YouTube.com. Make sure to like this video and subscribe where you get a different look, another perspective of me, my life, what's went down, what will go down, and everything in between. So, there's been some experiences, there's been some good times, there's been some positivity, there's been some negativity, and then there's times in my life where, you take something, you take a problem, and you deal with it, and you try the best to live your life as good as you can. And it's a traumatic experience, though, because many of my viewers and subscribers may remember several months ago, or maybe a year or so ago, talked about the fact that I deal with a swallowing issue called dysphagia. There's all kinds of different ways you can pronounce it and say it, but with the way I talk and the way that the words come out of my mouth, it's a swallowing issue. And pretty much what happens is putting food to mouth, food down throat, swallow to stomach. The process, the elements that go into this, a lot of muscles, there's a lot of things that happen during the swallowing process. You don't really think about this until you start having swallowing issues. And when you have to live your life dealing with this started back, I'd say, in 2010. And it got to a point where I almost needed a feeding tube. Yes, I almost needed a feeding tube, ladies and gentlemen. I went from 165 pounds all the way down to 125 pounds. I thought I was ready for the deathbed. I couldn't. At this time, this is when I couldn't even sleep. I couldn't swallow. I couldn't really eat. I could just about get liquids down without choking, without it coming back up. There was a lot of pain upon swallowing. It was very difficult, and even to this day, I still deal with dysphagia and swallowing issues. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, don't get. So when I get a steak or a hamburger, I gotta cut it up very fine. I gotta get very tiny little pieces, like a baby. And you know what? Sometimes it's embarrassing, and that kind of stops me from going out to eat, or interacting in a way where, well, I can go out to eat and not worry about people looking at me, and why am I cutting my steak and my cheeseburgers and my hot dog? Why am I cutting up so small? And maybe that has to do with the reason why I'm not overweight. Maybe part of the reason why I'm not fat. It's I guess in a way you could say it's an eating disorder. It's not that I'm not trying to eat food. It's not that I'm trying to kill myself. It's just that, when you have problems with swallowing and you can't get food to throat and swallow correctly, and you got all these different things happening at once, it's like a snowball effect. And there are some days where I'm thinking, well, do I want to eat? Should I eat? Because every time I swallow, I'm taking a chance of choking, or, it going in my airway, or, my lungs, and I have to cough it and choke it out. And it's not a good ordeal. It's not fun. It's not cool. It's not rad. And maybe more or less I'm not doing these videos to say, oh, I feel bad, or showing this or that. No. Bottom line is, I've gone to many doctors. I've had many tests done. I've had many scans done. I've done the swallow test. I've done all kinds of different tests. And I remember one time it came back that I had the swallowing mechanism, of a much, much older person, where, there's restrictions there, and the muscles, it's the contraction. I don't know, it just... I'm not a doctor. I'm not big into the medical terms, but I know what's wrong with me. And anyone that's going through dysphagia, especially at 27 years old, it definitely has an effect on your life and the way you live your life, and going out. And yeah, you'll see me in my vlogs going to McDonald's or anything, but I'm not getting a super Big Mac. I'm not getting a bunch of fries with it. I'll get maybe a simple cheeseburger. They're very thin meat. It takes me a little bit longer than others to eat food. But, once again, you will judge me. You will talk about me. You will crave this. And this isn't for attention. This is just to raise awareness and get the word out there that, no matter the circumstance, no matter how hard or difficult it may be, you got to deal with the problems head on, and, do the best you can with what you have to work with. And, even though this does take away... And as you can see when I swallow too, you see how I have to, there's like I said, I actually have to think about it. In my mind, I actually have to think about it and saying, okay, I got to get from food to mouth to swallow into the stomach. And, so it's definitely difficult. It's definitely hard. It's not something you want to go through. I mean, obviously, it's not the worst thing. There are worse things than dysphagia. I understand that. I get that. But, yeah, I just wanted to give you, once again, this is a different perspective. It's another look of Sean's View Entertainment. And, I don't know, it doesn't really run in my family where people had, issues with swallowing. I don't drink. I don't smoke. I never had a stroke. Sometimes I have a little acid reflux, but that doesn't have to do with, why I got this, reason with my throat. Like I said, this goes back to, I pretty much never really had problems until I'd say around, like I said, late 2009, maybe early 2010. And ever since then, it's snowballed, to this very day where I still have problems and experiences, where sometimes, I can't really swallow too good, and, I can't really comprehend to me why this stuff happens. But it just does, and there's not a whole hell of a lot you can do about it, but just live with it, and go on your way. So yeah, dealing with swallowing issues, dysphagia, it's not something I would wish on anybody, but I'm sure people will wish it on me because we got some nice people here on the internet. But yeah, it's cool. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, your comments, your opinions, and maybe one day my muscles will get stronger, maybe they'll get thicker, maybe all the muscles will work together at the same time, and we'll have something happen. Like I said, you don't really realize how much it takes to swallow. Even I have trouble swallowing some pills. Sometimes I have to get the chewable. Sometimes I have to get the liquid version of it, because I have a hard time with swallowing. I have those kind of issues, and it's not like I ever had some kind of throat injury or anything like that. It's just something that occurred one day. It happened out of nowhere, happened out of the blue, and then it developed. It got worse, and then finally I said, well, you know what? I got to get this checked out. I got to go to a doctor. So yeah, this is living and dealing with swallowing issues at a young age, and hey, you know what? I'm not gonna let it, take me down. I'm not gonna let it detour me. I'm still gonna try to live, my life to the best I can. But it's definitely, just puts another roadblock in front of me. But it's how we deal with that roadblock that matters at the end of the day. Your comments, your opinions, and thank you for watching another edition of Sean's Vlogs on YouTube.com. The swallowing experience right here. Subscribe.